15 things rich people do that the poor don't. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, how great is it to have you here with us today? You know, this is a special video that we had to do due to popular demand. The first part is currently the most watched, and most hated we might add, video on our channel, but we believe we spilled some truth that not everyone is comfortable hearing. In this one, we're going to cover some actions that the rich take while the poor neglect, either because they don't have the knowledge or simply don't want to. Generating wealth is a combination of factors, and the items we'll mention on this list, although they will not guarantee your success, will greatly improve your chances. We recommend you watch both this video and the other one at least once every couple of months, because you never know which part will trigger a new idea or realization about your life. With that out of the way, let's go through the 15 things rich people do that the poor don't. Number 1. Rich people read a lot. Here's an interesting fact. Did you know that top CEOs in the world read at least 50 books per year? Do you know how many books the average person reads per year? The answer is 1.5, and it's usually fiction or romance. What if we told you you could gain access to all the things a person learned in their entire life, learn from their mistakes, and understand what made them successful in just a couple of days or even hours? How incredible would that be? Well, you can. Books, my friend, that's what they do. They are distilled knowledge in written format. Reading, especially for self-development purposes, is still incredibly underrated. No matter what your passion is, you can learn from the greats in your field. And don't stop there. Read the success stories of people from different niches, because you'll never know what idea their story might spark on your own journey. So, next time you're wondering why a top CEO earns 10, 20, or 50 times more than you do, remember that while you're busy staying the same, they continue to educate themselves. Number 2, they sacrifice the present for the future. Rich people start early. How early? As early as possible. The best moment to start your journey was 10 years ago. The second best was yesterday. The third best is right now. Because of their education and the amount of success books they read, they understand that things don't just happen overnight. So they start grinding. They sacrifice the present and invest in the most important thing that they have on their side, time, into their goal. While the poor go partying, the future rich hustle. While the poor watch TV, the rich read self-development books. While you waste your time doing pretty much nothing, the future rich invest that time into their craft. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Beyonce or Jay-Z have the same 24 hours as you do. They just use it differently, so don't expect to get the same results. Number 3, go all in on their strengths. A strong differentiating factor between the rich and the poor is that the rich try to get to know themselves as much as possible. They actively spend time trying to find out what they want to do with their life, and then they do everything they can to become better at that one thing. If you've got a talent that gives you an unfair advantage over the rest, bet on it. That doesn't mean you need to be born special. You just need to want it more and be willing to put in the work. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't put in the work. The only way to guarantee you'll never be great at anything is by trying to be great at everything. The educational system combined with faulty parenting are partially at fault here. Let's say you have a child that's in school. He's great with computers, but is lagging behind on his French. What do parents do? They get him a French tutor. Parents do their best to ensure their kids are as mediocre as everyone else is, instead of giving the child more resources to develop what he's already passionate about. It's shocking how many people have just a vague idea of what their passions are, and even less of them put any effort behind developing that into a useful skill. The rich, on the other hand, find it and then go all in on it. Number 4, believe they are responsible for their own fate. Successful people rely on themselves and themselves alone, while the poor, they look for any opportunity to make excuses. It's because of the government. It's because of the market crisis. It's because I'm not good enough. I never get the credit I deserve. I never get lucky. All of them are a bunch of bullshit. The road to success or financial freedom is not an easy one, and sorry to say this, but unless you were born into a very rich family, you'll have to walk it yourself. If you are smart, you can speed up the pace, but nonetheless, there are no shortcuts. Rich people don't blame others for their misfortunes. They don't expect the government to take care of them. They take charge of their own lives and craft it the way they want it. Something to remember. If you're not building your own life, someone else will hire you to build theirs. Stop with the excuses. 86% of the millionaires and billionaires in the world are self-made. That's almost 9 out of 10. They built their own fortunes from scratch through hard work and by being smart about it. They are the masters of their own fate. What about you? Will you be the one steering the boat or just another random that's being dragged around by the current? It's time to make a choice. Number 5. They set financial goals. Almost every single rich person we've met or read about understand the importance of setting clear financial goals. These are not the "I want to have $1 billion" type of goals, but more like "I want to make $100,000 by the end of the year." If I'm going to start on January 1st, that means I need to generate $274 every single day. That's around $8,250 every month. What do I need to do to make that happen? How much money am I currently earning? What can I do to increase my output or to make my work more efficient? Do I charge more? Do I add new products? Do I add a new stream of income? Rich people tend to have high enough but achievable goals, just a little push from their comfort zone, which demands them to grow in order to achieve them. Even if you fail to reach that particular number, at the end, you're likely to be closer to it than if you had not placed that goal in the first place. We ourselves at ALUX have clear goals. We have goals for the next 6 months, for the next year, for the next 5 years, and long-term goals. Because we know where we're going. All of our actions are set to get us closer to them. Here's a quick tip we've learned from a millionaire friend. Write your short-term goals on the bathroom mirror. That way you get to see them every day, and it's going to be a pleasure to take them off when completed. Write your medium-term goals, 1 to 5 years, on a bill that you always keep in your wallet. Never pay with it, but every time you're going to open your wallet, you're going to be reminded that you have that goal that you've promised yourself, and you should do more to get yourself closer to it. If you do decide to implement any of these two, please submit a photo of your goals on alux.com. That way, our community will hold you accountable for them. Number 6. The rich sleep less than the poor. Here's the hard truth. Most people who are poor are lazy. There are always exceptions and special circumstances, but the majority of poor people end up poor because they lack the determination to escape their circumstances. Let's dive a little deeper into this because it's really important to understand what we mean when we say poor people are lazy. There are 2 types of laziness. 1. People who despise work and would rather sit at home and collect welfare, pump out children so they can use them to keep themselves alive, and maybe one of the children will be their ticket out. And the second type of lazy person is the one who knows that if they invest some time into learning a new skill, it would definitely benefit them, but they choose not to. Rich people are not afraid to work themselves out. The average entrepreneur that's on their way to success works at least 14 hours per day in the beginning years. The less hours you sleep, the more hours you have to dedicate to your work. The goal is to have something worth waking up early for. Don't get us wrong, you can wake up every day at 4:30 a.m. and still be poor because you don't make good enough use of the time you have in the day. And you know why you don't make good use of it? Because you're too lazy to learn and improve yourself up to the point where you know exactly what you need to do every day until you reach your goal. Number 7, have money work for them. This is one of the basics, and unless you understand this, there's very little chance you'll ever be rich, or even if you do get it, stay rich. Rich people don't make money for the purpose of buying shit or spending it. They work so hard to get money so they can make smart investments that in return generate steady flows of income, which protect them from outside forces. Let me explain. Let's say you've somehow got your hands on $100,000. We know, not that much money, but welcomed anyway. There are 2 types of people in this situation. One will take all of the money and buy a new 2018 Range Rover Sport, just so they can show off their new whip. This is a depreciating asset. The second you get out of that showroom, that $100K starts going down. The amortization on a car is around 10 years, so every year the car loses $10,000 of its worth, not mentioning the straight 20% you lose when you wanted to sell it immediately, because now it's a pre-owned car. The other guy will look at acquiring an appreciating asset. For those of you that never heard that before, appreciating means growing in value. Depending on where you live, $100,000 might even be enough to get yourself some real estate. Rent that place out immediately and it starts paying you money month after month. After 10 years, the place you bought not only paid you at least the $100K back in rent, but if you wanted to sell it, you'd get more than what you initially paid for it. Make money and have that money work for you. If nothing else, take that money and immediately pay off any debt you have. At least that allows you to have a shot at growth. Number 8. The rich don't protest or boycott, they produce. The true rich got to where they are by creating value for others. That's the only recipe to richest. Although sometimes they might be in disagreement with what's going on externally, their focus will always be on how we can add more value, increase our output, since that's the only true protection you have. It's easy to complain, but really hard to be on the other side of the table, trying to be the one coming up with solutions. Number 9. The rich think in terms of abundance, not scarcity. The moment you understand that there's unlimited wealth around us, your world will change. The way you look at life changes, and this is something very few people are aware of. That's why they're rich. While poor people think there's a limited amount of wealth to go around, the rich look to innovate and create wealth, where the average folks didn't see anything of value or were simply unable to look beyond appearances. Thinking in terms of scarcity is one of the major things why people stay poor and never escape poverty. They think there's never more than what they currently have, and their focus is on conserving what little they have for as long as possible. Guess what happens? At some point, that little bit will run out. The rich think in terms of abundance. Value is continually created, and there are no limits to the amount of innovation and value one can put into the world. While the poor think of wealth as a limited pie, out of which they need to get themselves some breadcrumbs, the rich understand there's an unlimited supply of pies, that anyone can have a piece without meaning someone else will be left without. We see it so often in the comments where people think all the rich people somehow stole the richness from others just so they can have it for themselves. There's nothing less true than that. The fact that Bill Gates created a software company that 1.5 billion people use to improve their own lives and that make him a billionaire has no impact on your ability to get rich. Just because Elon Musk is building an electric car company really has no negative impact on your chances of becoming a millionaire or billionaire yourself. The rich are not limited by their beliefs, but the poor are. Number 10. They play the long game. The rich understand that this is not going to happen overnight. They understand that it's the small efforts, repeated over extended periods of time, that will get them to where they want to be. What do the poor do? Oh, they want to be rich, and they want it now, preferably without any sacrifice. Unless you were born into a wealthy family or you're so incredibly talented that the world rewards you with a rock star life, guess what? It's going to take you at least 10 years of incredible hustle just to get yourself in a position where you have an actual shot at really being rich. It's easy to look at the end result, but nobody talks about the road to get there. 99% of Warren Buffett's wealth was earned after his 50th birthday, despite him buying his first stocks when he was 11 years old. Just think about that. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but massively underestimate what they can do in 20 or 40 years. Play the long game, A-Luxers. Don't quit. Keep playing, keep pushing, and all of those small efforts will add up to something great. And if you want to learn some more about the incredible life of Warren Buffett, we've covered him in a dedicated video, which you can check out by clicking in the top right corner. Number 11. Focus on being healthy. The only way to help others is by first helping yourself, and you can't do that if you're not physically capable. As a poor person, you'd be shocked at the amount of time, effort, and money the rich put into maintaining a healthy lifestyle. They focus on eating right, keeping their bodies as healthy as possible. In addition to that, they make sure they're strong mentally. Most millionaires we've come across actively meditate and keep their minds always busy. Remember the number 1 point on this list? That your mind is going to the gym. Number 12. Study other successful people. Just because they got successful themselves, that doesn't mean that's where it all ends. Rich people always analyze the moves other rich people make in order to both maintain a competitive edge and also learn from others. Spend a good portion of your time learning about how other people got to be successful. Learn from their successes and their mistakes. That's why we've put so much effort into making these videos about all these brands and the people behind them. The information is there for the taking. Are you going to do so, or are you going to be lazy and waste your time watching cat videos? Number 13. Have mentors. Every rich person we know and have heard of has mentors. A mentor is a person who actively is involved into keeping you on track. He or she is there to provide advice and help you avoid some of the mistakes they've already made. Your ability to attract quality mentors is a major differentiator between your chances of success. There's so much to talk about when it comes to the impact mentors can have on your life that we're probably going to talk about it in detail in a future video if you guys would like that. Number 14. They understand the world is changing. The world doesn't care about what you're comfortable with. The change is happening, and your ability to understand that will make or break your future. While the rich focus on where the puck is going, the poor are living in the past. Every rich person thinks their best days are in the present and in the future, while the poor always bring up how the good old days are gone. Both the beauty and the drama of this is that the world doesn't give a shit about you as an individual. You are one of almost 8 billion people, and you were born as naked as everyone else. You need to do the best you can with what you're given and try not only to keep up, but stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, the world will come crushing down on your head. How many top executives have you heard of recently coming under fire for still doing the same things they did back in the ironically good old days? One of the best things one can do for their own finances is study as many business models as possible. Rich people understand that the world is always changing, and simply making it once is not enough to maintain success. Remember cassette tapes? What an incredible innovation! A lot of people got rich back then. Then the CDs and DVDs came and the world changed. Some people bet on the Switch, others thought they were invincible. You're kinda happy for those who bet on CDs, aren't you? Well, just a couple of years later, most of them got crushed when they weren't agile enough to see how big streaming will be. The world rewards those who facilitate progress, and those who don't, well, they've had a good run. Number 15. They're making the world a better place. This is what the poor hate to be told, and it's probably the point on this list we're going to get most of our hate from. Believe it or not, the bulk of all innovation in the history of mankind was financed by the wealthy. Everything around you and everything we know about the world today wouldn't exist without some rich person or group making a very risky bet. If it weren't for modern medicine developed by the pharma companies people love to hate, guess what? You'd die an early and painful death. Nobody is perfect, but it's the rich that keep pushing the boundaries further and further. It's the rich who provide aid in case of need. It's the rich who invest in breakthrough technologies that push what we know to be truth to the limit. Even in the early days, it's the rich who patron the inventors of the time. Without the Medici family, we might have never heard of Leonardo da Vinci, and we can go through examples like this one for hours on end. America was built on the money of private investors who financed the exploration of new sailing routes. Without people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, we wouldn't be talking about going to Mars and what it would mean for humanity. Hate on the rich all you want, but the phone or laptop you're watching this on wouldn't be there if someone didn't decide to push forward on a great idea they had. You guys are smart and understand that everything on this list should be used as motivation and not to bring others down. You should watch this video and be inspired. Money is not the end goal. It's what will facilitate you making a positive impact on this world. We're curious to know, Aluxers, what other actions differentiate the rich from the poor? Let us know in the comments. Because you stuck with us until the end, as you're accustomed already, we have a bonus fact for you. Number 16. Rich people get paid on results, not on time. People who get paid on time try to stretch out the time it takes to get the job done as much as possible. The rich have no interest in the job taking longer than it needs to, plus they're motivated to get the best result possible as soon as it can be done. Their ability to complete tasks through hard work and creative solving is what separates them from the rest. You know that when we do videos like this one, we want to see who are the true A-Luxers watching the video all the way to the end. Please write, "I will make an impact" in the comments, just so the rest are freaked out because they don't know what's happening. And as always, we'll do our best to personally thank the first few hundred who do so. Thank you for spending some time with us, A-Luxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an A-Luxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.